Hi there. Thanks so much for joining us for another true crime story. Today's case takes us to Lookout Mountain in northwest Georgia. Lookout Mountain is made up of limestone with layers of sandstone and shale. It was formed by millions of years of tectonic plates colliding and erosion. Lookout Mountain is famous for Rock City and Ruby Falls, two incredibly beautiful landmarks in the area. Rock City is considered a geologic wonderland with unique gardens and outstanding landscapes. Also home to Ruby Falls, this waterfall is located directly in the center of a cave made of limestone. The stream, which flows 1,120 feet underground, is fed by rainwater and natural springs. This water eventually joins the Tennessee River at the base of Lookout Mountain. Both are a must-see if you are in this corner of northwest Georgia. Close by Rock City and Ruby Falls is a lesser-known park. The Lula Lake Land Trust was established by the will of Robert Davenport, a member of the founding family of the Crystal restaurant chain. It seeks to protect and preserve the natural beauty and abundance of resources within the Rock Creek watershed for the benefit of present and future generations by fostering education, research, and conservation stewardess of the land. As early as 1958, Mr. Davenport began to acquire pieces of property that would later form the core of the Lula Lake Land Trust project. Those original acquisitions included two exquisite natural land features, Lula Lake and Lula Falls. The waters of Rock Creek Gorge tumble downward into Lula Lake, and then they roar over Lula Falls on its descent to the Chattanooga Valley below. This beautiful lake was used as a swimming hole by locals and people traveling through. It quickly became a popular place to gather as far back as the Civil War. Up until the 1960s, the land was used as a local dump site. It had been clear-cut for timber harvesting, and it had been mined when locals had unrestricted access. The condition of the land around the lake had left the surrounding land values lower, so Mr. Davenport was able to quietly amass several hundred acres throughout the 1960s and 1970s. Once he owned the land, access was restricted, so a huge trash cleanup and restoration of the land could begin. By Mr. Davenport's death, over 1,200 acres were a part of the trust. Today, there are over 12,000 acres protected. In 1963, Lula Lake was where young couples went to park and make out. It was a well-known lover's lane as well as a popular destination for hikers, fishermen, and wildlife enthusiasts. On April 14th, Easter Sunday, 1963, Carolyn Newell, aged 16, and Orville Pete Steele, aged 19, had enjoyed an Easter dinner with their families, and then the young couple went for a drive to Lula Lake. They never came home. The families called police when the couple hadn't returned by midnight. The police's first response was that the young couple had run away and eloped. They were not immediately worried, but the families knew different. The families knew that Carolyn and Pete would not run off. Both of them were happy, well-adjusted, and well-known in their community. There was no reason for these two to disappear. Everyone was looking forward to the upcoming nuptials and approved of this union. The search for the missing couple continued. Around 24 hours after their disappearance, when police found Steele's green Ford abandoned on top of a shell embankment near a popular hiking trail, they started to take this disappearance more seriously. The front tire was flat, and a container of gas was sitting next to the vehicle. The parents were optimistic the kids just had car trouble, and they began an extensive search all around the park with no luck. Despite not finding the kids, both families remained hopeful they would return. But that would not happen. The bodies of Carolyn Newell and Pete Steele were found 6 days after they went missing. They were off trail, but found not far apart. Pete was found bound to a tree with twine and had been strangled with twine and a stick to tighten it. Carolyn was found about 100 to 150 yards away from Pete. She was also bound with the same twine and had been strangled. She had been brutally beaten, assaulted, and left on the forest floor. Her leg was partially consumed by wildlife, and her clothing was shredded. Suspicion was immediately directed at James Blevins, a 27-year-old Rossville resident. He was a married father, but was also known as the town weirdo. His own defense attorney referred to him as a peeping Tom, a weakling, and a sex degenerate. He was an admitted cruiser, someone who rode around in his vehicle looking for couples to spy on. He set off that Easter Sunday in a full camouflage outfit and headed to Lula Lake to spy. Blevins admits he saw the couple and spoke with them at Lula Lake, but he denied hurting them. He said he let the air out of the tire, expecting to give the female a ride home when they found the tire flat. Blevins denied murdering the couple. He was picked up and questioned by police, and even though he denied any involvement, he was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. He was held without bond and housed in neighboring Rome County because of rumored threats against him in Walker County. The case was prosecuted by Attorney General Earl Self and a special prosecutor from Somerville, Bobby Lee Cook. According to local writer Jerry Summers, Blevins was defended by Colonel Frank Gleason of Rossville. He was an aggressive and tenacious lawyer. The case, of course, attracted local, state, and some national news, including a piece in the New York Times. This was a hotly contested trial, and both sides had outstanding lawyers. In May of 1964, James Blevins was found guilty of the murder of Carolyn Newell and sentenced to death. The jurors believed the prosecutor's theory, who stated the twine found at the scene matched twine found in Blevins' vehicle. He had admitted to being in the area and tampering with the vehicle to prevent the couple from leaving that day. That conviction would be overturned in 1965 because the selection of jurors must be drawn in open court, and this did not happen here. The jurors were drawn in the judge's chambers. In 1966, the second trial for Carolyn Newell was held. The outcome was different this time. Blevins was acquitted by the jury, who did not think there was enough physical evidence, and even though Blevins had admitted to being there, they found it all to be circumstantial. Between 1967 and 1971, the case against Blevins for the murder of Pete Steele remained unsolved. Although he had already been acquitted in 1966 of the murder of Carolyn Newell, the charges for Pete's death were still pending. During this time, multiple delays plagued the prosecution. Whether due to lack of evidence, shifting legal priorities, or the fallout from the overturned conviction in Carolyn's case, the state failed to move forward with a timely trial. Meanwhile, Blevins remained a free man. And in a decision based on a technicality, in 1971, the Georgia Court of Appeals held that Blevins' right to a speedy trial had been denied, and the murder charge for the Pete Steele case had to be dismissed, freeing James Blevins. He passed away at 76 years old on April 8, 2013 in Bridgeport, Alabama. No other suspects have ever been identified, and to this day, the murders of Carolyn Newell and Pete Steele remain unsolved. It is thought that the local author, Cormac McCarthy, was inspired to write his novel, Child of God, based off of this story. He has never confirmed this, though. And today, Lula Lake Land Trust is a beautifully conserved recreation area. It is open to the public the first and last weekend of each month and requires a small reservation fee. If you've made it this far, thank you. And if you've enjoyed our content, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. We will be uploading once a month and we'll be focusing on solved true crime cases. We hope you join us for our next video. And also, if you have any case suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. We look forward to hearing from you. Bye.